sacred destiny of man. So when it comes to promoting the great vision of America's life, as it was seen by those early pioneers, then I am very serious. In fact, I am serious enough to go to war if necessary to defend those aspirations and those ideas. And moving right along, I want to now bring up our dear brother who spent time in the United States Navy, Jimmy Smalls. He has about 17 total years of military time. And so, without further delay, Brother Smalls.
Assalamu alaikum. I didn't expect to speak, but I'll tell you a story I don't really talk too much about. I was in the service during the Vietnam era. I had just finished my first year at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. I made the dean's list, and then I get home, I get a letter that says, President Nixon welcomes you to the United States Army. But I didn't want to go in the Army. So I decided to go to the recruiting office in Orange, New Jersey. I'm walking up the stairs. I said, I already got to go in the Army. I said, I had heard the Marine Corps was hard, so the first door I came to was the United States Navy. And, you know, during that era, I saw a lot of friends get killed, no matter what branch of the 5 branches they went, because of Vietnam. But as it turned out, the Navy wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. And what I was able to do was, from being a member of the service, was to get my bachelor's degree and my master's degree without paying a dime. Without paying a dime, because we used to have the GI Bill, which they don't have anymore. People in the military now have to pay towards that. And so after I got my degrees, I said, well, look, I need something to do. So I went in the reserves, and even while I was in the reserves and active duty, for some reason I was always selected as the affirmative action officer for whatever reason. I guess being a Muslim helped me go through that, because being a Muslim, you take things in the military a lot different than what other people in society do. We are straight and narrow. We want to do things the right way, and Al-Islam teaches that. And at that time, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed, I was in the Navy at the time, and I was in Norfolk. And a lot of people were talking about how things were going to go crazy. It did not. It did not. So I went to the temple that was on Church Street in Norfolk at the time. So under the leadership of Imam Mohammed, it's paved the way to help me and a whole lot of other people. But the military wasn't that bad. It was able to help me get my house, which I still live in, and a whole host of other things. So it's just great. The Navy was great, honestly. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Smalls. I think we're still having some mic difficulties in and out. And we got time for one more speaker, and then we're going to bring up, we're going to have a tribute, and then we're going to bring up our president of the Mosque. Next speaker we're going to listen to Abdul Rahim Ali. He was a sergeant in the 101st Airborne, again from the Army, and he was also a Vietnam veteran, and he has a Bronze Star. Without further delay, I want to bring up our brother Abdul Rahim Ali.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment, be the worship and aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way that thou hast before thy favor, and not the path of the wrath as we go down. I'd like to start. This is the first, I have the Bronze Star, and this is the first time ever in history that I have an audience that will be able to recognize and hear that I received the Bronze Star in Vietnam. I'm so excited about this because having a Bronze Star, I wouldn't even tell anybody that I was in Vietnam and had a Bronze Star. I was a college graduate from North Carolina Central University in 1970. Upon graduating from North Carolina Central, I was drafted in the Army. 16 weeks later, I'm in Vietnam. I was prepared to be a teacher. And here I'm in Vietnam in a foreign land with an M16, not knowing what to do, scared as I don't know what. So this fear that we had at that time was tremendous on us. And a lot of us suffer from what we call post-traumatic stress. I went to school to be a teacher, not a person to carry a weapon. So a lot of us during that period of time, not only the people who were in the military, but people outside the military also was affected by the Vietnam era. So we must know that we all has been affected from the period of the 60s, and we have a lot of brothers that are out there now that really need our help, and we still need our help. And I thank Almighty God for Marvel. Now we are beginning to see that there are opportunities out here, and there's benefits for us. I tried several times to get like my claims done, and I tried to write it myself. I thought I could do it. But you have to have someone who really understands the language of writing these claims, and I thank Allah for Marvel. And if you haven't joined Marvel, please do. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. We want to do a special tribute now to one of our veterans that are no longer with us. We're going to present a posthumous award. Our commander will come up and read that citation. And then we want to bring up someone who he mentored for the last position he had in the community. So we'll have our commander come up and read that citation.
Citation reads, this is a posthumous award presented to Imam Gayef Nur Kashif, former editor of Balalian News. In recognition, commemoration, and appreciation for his honorable role of service, sacrifice, dedication, and commitment in building the Muslim American Veterans Association, the oldest Islamic established veterans organization in America, and his role in advancing Islamic accommodation in the United States Department of Defense. He spent 4 years in the U.S. Air Force during the Korean War. He was highly instrumental in helping to negotiate commissioning of the first Islamic chaplain for the U.S. military. In 2016, he was recognized by the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, at a dinner held at the Pentagon, stating, "The U.S. military is the finest in the world, not because of our platforms and technology, but because of our people. They are the heart and soul of the force, a force that is at its best when it reflects the diversity of the nation we so proudly serve. That includes religious diversity. Our nation and our entire military family are made stronger because of the service and sacrifice of people of all faiths, including the thousands of patriotic Muslim Americans who have served and still serve during this long period of war. They continue a long and noble tradition of generations of Muslim Americans who have defended this country. Great Americans like Korean War veteran, Air Force Sergeant Gayef Nur Kashif. On behalf of all Americans, we thank them for their patriotism, for their selfless service, and for their sacrifice. We are able to enjoy the blessings of liberty and religious freedom because of the willingness of Americans of all faiths to put their lives on the line for this country." And this is being presented today, the 1st of September 2019. And Imam Kashif's immediate family, his son and daughter-in-law and grandchildren reside in Washington, D.C., and I will make sure that they receive this.
So right now, receiving it, we're going to get this to them, but receiving it on their behalf right now, individual again that is in the position that he was in, his last position in the community as an imam at one of our great institutions in Washington, D.C. We're going to have Imam Mohammed come up and receive this.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I will make sure the Imam, Kashif's son and granddaughter, Maisha, get this award. And I'm quite sure they all appreciate this, and they want to thank you all for this award. And I also want to say that it was because of Imam Kashif being the Imam at a mental hospital called St. Elizabeth in Washington, D.C., that I am the Imam there now, and the name is now called Department of Behavioral Health. So now I'm the Imam there, and the people there, the patients there, they always remind me of Imam Kashif, and they loved him, and he did a great job there. So I just want to make sure that I continue to work there for him, inshallah. And also, when I leave there, that someone from our community will take my place. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
So we'll get ready to transition